Biggest challenge of this hike is the heat. It's unbearable, and it's so dry out here. You just feel the moisture getting sucked out of your lungs, my voice. Oh, it's so dry. I've never encountered anything like this. You just feel the sand and the grit. Oh. These spots of shade are a real blessing. It's getting windy up here and hot.
So, a trail guide for Fairyland Loop in Bryce Canyon National Park. Bryce Canyon, it stretches quite some distance. So if you look at this map, I'm using Fat Maps here, but I also use Gaia GPS. At the top of Bryce Canyon, you come in and there's like a little town that's just over here. And the actual entrance where you need to go through the park entrance is not where the Fairyland Loop is. It's further down. It's kind of weird, but you still need a park pass to go there. There's two entrances to the Fairyland Loop, and this is important to note because I went on the north one, and the south one actually has water. So I would recommend the south one. The south one's bigger too. Maybe has more traffic, but the north one is just up here, and you can see this is where I started right there, and I went down this way, and I went clockwise through the canyon, around the Boat Mesa, this is the big mountain here. And if we look at it in 3D, you can see there's one big mountain you go around. The views are absolutely exceptional when you get to the back end looking at the Boat Mesa. I've got a couple shots in there, my absolute favorite shots of the whole hike. They're just so cool, and I wish I could get up there and actually summit that mountain. It's not allowed. There's no trail up there, and you can't go off trail in this area. So now the Fairyland Loop, as you can see, zigzags, lots of switchbacks till you get to the bottom. There's no river down here. I'm sure at some point in the year this flows heavily, but when I did this in the end of May, there's no water and there's no snow. And that's something to really note. You need to bring a lot of water. It's really dry and really hot in there, depending what time of year you go. But if you're going May, June, July, August, September, October-ish, before it snows, you definitely need lots of water. It's drier in the bottom of the canyon than it is in the top. Like, I had that one clip in there where I just feel like the water's being sucked out of me. It's true. Like, it's so dry down there, and your throat gets so like hoarse and dry. I drank 1.5 liters of water, and then I brought 2.5 liters of water, and that should be okay for this hike. It's only like 8 miles, 7.8 miles. But the main problem is that I got COVID and I didn't realize it, and it hit me, for whatever reason, it just hit me really hard at the bottom. As I started to climb up, I just started to feel terrible, and I almost didn't get out of there. I think I had altitude sickness or whatever. I mean, it was not that high up. It's only about 8,000 feet above sea level, but I was coming from sea level, so I was probably a little bit dizzy from that, and then as well as the COVID. I was absolutely wrecked getting out of there, and there's one shot in there where there's 5 people. There's one group that's ahead of me. I caught up to them, and a guy from that group gave me about 3/4 liter of water and some Gatorade powder, and it probably saved my life. Big thanks to you if you're watching this. I was struggling. I couldn't barely even move my legs to get out of that canyon, and I don't even really understand it. Like, I was feeling kind of groggy for a couple days, but I wasn't feeling terrible. You can see multiple shots. I had plenty of energy to go up and down these different slopes and get my shots, tripod shots, back and forth, no problem. And then as soon as I got to the bottom of that canyon, my nose started to flood. I started losing all my water. I was blowing my nose every 2 seconds, and then I just felt like absolute death. From here, if you get back onto the rim goes all the way around here, and the other parking lot is back way over here. So it's 2.4 miles all the way around, 3.9 kilometers. And there's just a slight bit of elevation gain, but it's enough that it will absolutely trash you if you have no energy. There's basically flat for most of it, and then 2 kind of sharp uphills. And I really struggled to get back there, and I barely got my car before they towed it. So I highly recommend, make sure you bring lots of water and go to the other trailhead. Go to the south one, because at least you can load up with water there. There's one of those big national park water things with the brass tap and all that. So, and I'm pretty sure there's no water at the north parking lot. I did not see any water there. Now, if you're just looking to do some quick sightseeing, you can go to the southern parking lot, go down just a little bit, get a good view. You can even go down to the bottom and then just back up. And at the bottom here is this side trail, which allows you to look at the arch, which is somewhere over here, that big tower bridge or whatever it's called, and go back up. You can also go and do the Navajo Loop. The Navajo Loop and the wall both have these really sharp steps, and they're right here. You can see there's one and there's the other. So these stair steps are iconic, and people love that. You can just go check that out and go back. So you can kind of hit all 3 of those things and not do any of the loops, or you can do the Navajo Loop and get the whole thing. The Navajo Trail, I have a whole other video on that coming up. It's more tall walls. It looks completely kind of different, but it's really cool. I really enjoyed that one too. And it's only about half or a third the length. So it's just a completely different thing. If you're looking for something easier, a Navajo Queen's Garden Loop is probably for you. Now, as for drone shots, I got them outside of the park. I did not fly my drone in the park. I do everything by the book here. If we look at my Gaia GPS, all this red section is the national park, and Fairyland Loop is right there. And I drove in here and got my shots right here and around there. All the driving shots were done down here in this, like around this turn here where it's all not in the park. I just wanted that because it added a cool element to the storytelling of me pulling into the park. It's driving into the park, it's all paved. There's no gravel road like that. It just made it look cool. And I also that's where I got my aerial shots from. So if you're wondering. So yeah, give yourself about 4 hours. It's about 1,600 feet of elevation gain. For me, it was about 1,800 feet because of tripod zigzagging. And mine was about 11.8 miles. So it should be about 8 miles for you. It was about 3 more for me. Just because of tripods and extra shots and little side quests I was doing. So now if you're a van lifer and you want to be staying here, you can either pay to get one of these campgrounds, or you can stay outside of the park. So first off, we'll just look here. This is the visitor center. And I should note the south parking lot for this trail is down here, which is past the entrance. The entrance is right there. So you do have to go through the entrance to get there. Like I was saying before, the other one is, it's up here. You drive over there. This is the north entrance. So you don't actually go into the park to park there, which is weird. But so yeah, for van life, this is the sign that everyone takes pictures at. And the park line is quite literally straight across there and down. It's like a big stair step. And so you can go on this Forest Service road and just park anywhere here. There's no water, there's no bathroom, but you can, van life there. And then some people go up here at this one. I'm not saying that's allowed or not allowed, but that's definitely what a lot of people do. They just go and camp off the side of all these things. What I did though is, you see the main road that goes through this little Ruby's town. If you just go back up here and to the left, up here near this Pine Hills, I think this is called Pine Hills Rest Stop. There's a bathroom right there. There's nice picnic benches and stuff. There's actually some edible berries on these bushes and trees. I spent 5 days staying here because this is where I had to survive my COVID. So I have a disdain for this place, but this is a good rest stop. It's close. It's only about 7-minute drive from there back into the park to get back to this stuff. So plan for about 4 hours, 8 miles, 1,600 feet. And that does it for this one. Hopefully you enjoyed this trail guide in this episode of the Fairyland Loop in Bryce Canyon National Park. Big thanks to all my Patreon supporters. I greatly appreciate all of you. And if you want to support me on Patreon, you want to join, I have a Patreon at patreon.com/DavidHiking. And until next episode, have a great day.